All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Heartland Championship Wrestling. My name is Dave Little, and we are coming to you live from the Dave Cave with action from Patriot Championship Wrestling. We are at the Philadelphia Spectrum today as the Heartland begins season number 19 of professional wrestling action brought to you by Filsinger Games, and what a great run it has been. Last weekend, of course, the Tournament of Champions for 2024, the season finale, where all of the champions got together and wrestled for the prestigious Filsinger Cups. Congratulations, of course, to Pat Patterson, to the Steiner brothers, to Jordan Grace, and to the team of Angelina Love and Mandy Leone, the Allure, for winning the Cups last weekend. Now we are back, and we are live with Patriot Championship Wrestling. Frank Wainscott, first in line at the turnstile. Thank you, Frank, for coming, and we will keep you in our thoughts and prayers with your medical issues, and we will all hope together that you are indeed on the mend. Neil Lau, the number one fan of the Heartland, also here in the chat room as we get things started. Last time Patriot Championship Wrestling was on the air was September 14th, when we saw both the major championships change hands as the tag team titles were captured by BRUISER, BRODY, and Jimmy SNUKA with a victory over Mark and Jay Briscoe. And in the main event, it was Johnny Valentine capturing the Patriot Heavyweight Championship from Superstar Billy Graham. And we will see rematches for both of those championships here tonight in Philadelphia. Derek Bauman joins us here in the chat room. Welcome to you, Derek. Before we came to air, we did have several matches in the preliminary lineup, and the show opened with the Motor City Machine Guns capturing a victory over the debuting team of Tom Pritchard and Chris Candido, aka the Body Donnas, with Shelley picking up the pinfall over Pritchard after a Made in Detroit tag team double team maneuver. And yeah, I've been wanting to get Tom Pritchard back in the loop. I met Tom Pritchard at the Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremonies this summer, and gosh, what a nice human being. Nice man, very nice wife. Genuinely excited to see his Hall of Fame Filsinger card come out. Got a nice a nice autograph on my Tom Pritchard card. I'll put that up on screen here for you. And just looking forward to getting Tom Pritchard back in action. Unfortunately, coming up on the short end of the decision tonight against the Motor City Machine Guns. Then we saw two former champions trying to climb back into the rankings, as it was Harley Race with a pile driver getting the victory over Buddy Rogers. And gosh, Buddy Rogers had a great run in the Filsinger Cup tournament all the way to the semifinals. And then loses to Harley Race in his return to action here in Patriot Championship Wrestling. And just before we came to air in tag team action, it was the fabulous Kangaroos, Al Costello and Roy Heffernan, picking up the victory in a very exciting and competitive match against Nord the Barbarian and Boris Zukov. Heffernan getting the pinfall over Nord with the kangaroo kick. And that brings us to tonight's televised action here on the live stream, brought to you by the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening contest of tonight's live stream is scheduled for one fall, with a 30-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect for this one. Introducing first, out of Princeton, Minnesota. He stands at 6'1" and weighs 234 pounds. This is Bob Backlund. And his opponent comes to you from Paris Island, South Carolina. He stands at 6'4" and weighs in at 305 pounds. He is the one and only Sergeant Slaughter. So Sergeant Slaughter taking on Bob Backlund here tonight to kick off the show. And this is a match with championship implications. The winner of this bout will move on to a number one contenders match, where Vader already is in waiting. So the winner of this match will take on Vader for a shot at the Patriot Heavyweight Championship. So a high-stakes matchup here between Sergeant Slaughter and Bob Backlund. And yeah, this is another matchup that I have been looking forward to. I picked up and started watching wrestling in 1983, just before the beginning of the Hulkamania era, when Bob Backlund was still WWF at the time heavyweight champion, and Sergeant Slaughter was the number one contender. And Slaughter was the bad guy, and he had the camouflage limousine that he drove to the ring, and he called everybody a maggot and saluted everybody. And Sergeant Slaughter was genuinely my first favorite wrestler that I picked up on. I've always had a predilection for the heels, and Sergeant Slaughter versus Bob Backlund was one of the first feuds that caught my attention in my wrestling fandom way back in the year 1983, some 41 years ago. These two battled it out with the WWE Championship at stake. And here today, again, they face off in a high-stakes matchup with Bob Backlund getting the opening initiative role. And it is Backlund coming out with an arm drag, but Sergeant Slaughter blocks that. And it is Slaughter instead coming back with a kick with that military boot. Those big heavy boots of Sergeant Slaughter doing their damage. They come back together again. Slaughter now is going to go with a turnbuckle slingshot. This is a choice B maneuver, choice B. So he can either hit an agility roll of 6 or lower, or turnbuckle A. He'll try the agility maneuver, and on a roll of 8, it is Backlund able to dodge the turnbuckle slingshot, and Backlund coming back with a high vertical suplex up, over, and down to the canvas hard goes Sergeant Slaughter. Sarge getting to his feet. Backlund's on him, and Backlund is going to go for a head scissors. This is a choice C maneuver. He'll need 7 or lower to complete that. And on a roll of 6, it is Backlund completing the head scissors. And he may be able to force a submission here on a roll of snake eyes, but on a roll of 7, Slaughter able to kick out. Backlund now in control. What's he going to do? He is going to go for a pile driver. Didn't get all of that. Got enough to take Sergeant Slaughter down. The two men get to their feet. And it's Backlund with a whip to the ropes. Backlund has a whip to the ropes mechanic. If Backlund chooses to throw the opponent into the ropes, roll 2 dice. On 10 to 12, Backlund does the rolling back bridge. So can he convert this into a pinning predicament? No, he cannot. Sergeant Slaughter comes off the ropes the opposite way, and on a roll of 8, it is Backlund with a big backdrop that takes Sergeant Slaughter back down to the canvas. And it is now Backlund in control. And Backlund now with another whip to the ropes. Again, not able to complete the pinning mechanic. And this time on a roll of 7, it is a running back elbow smash delivered by Bob Backlund that stuns Sergeant Slaughter. Backlund maintaining control. And Backlund now trying for a hammerlock. Sergeant Slaughter going to reverse that one. And it is Sarge coming back instead with a big gut buster, dropping Backlund gut first across the knee, and Backlund now is down. Sergeant Slaughter in control with a throat drop on the top rope. And he hits the pin roll, but the pin roll is only a 1, so Backlund absorbs a point of fatigue, and Sergeant Slaughter now is in control, and he is going to take the action out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Both men A-rated performers on the arena floor, and on a roll of 8, it is Sarge winning the brawl with a flying clothesline off of the ring apron. Slaughter not a cannonball kind of a guy, but he hit that Slaughter cannon, that flying forearm off of the ring apron, and Backlund is down. Sarge now brings it back into the ring, backbreaker drop. Once again, down across the knee, punishing the upper back of Backlund. Slaughter still in control, and now he goes to the Cobra Clutch. The Cobra Clutch has been applied. This is a +3 finishing maneuver. So he can gain the submission here on roll of 5 or lower. And on a roll of 5, he got him. How about that? Sergeant Slaughter is your winner by way of the Cobra Clutch, forcing Bob Backlund to submit, and it will be Slaughter taking on Vader for a shot at the Patriot Heavyweight Championship. The Cobra Clutch takes another victim here tonight in Philadelphia. So congratulations to Sergeant Slaughter on an outstanding victory in a very important matchup against Bob Backlund to move forward in the ranks of challengers for the Patriot Heavyweight Championship. All right, one match down, 3 to go. Normally I do these on Saturday, but yesterday I was very engaged with the Ohio State Buckeyes. My beloved Buckeyes came up just a few seconds short of going on the road and picking up a big win at Oregon. And the Buckeyes needed that test. They hopefully learned some things from that test. And ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is not going to be for the faint of heart. This is a Singapore cane match, aka a kendo stick match. Grudge match rules in effect here as a result of actions that happened during the Filsinger Cup tournament, when Terry Funk attempted to interfere in a tournament match as his ally Barry Windham was fighting against Buddy Rogers. Buddy Rogers ended up winning that match, and as Windham was struggling, Funk came out to help, and Roddy Piper came out of nowhere to confront Terry Funk, and they had it out at ringside. Piper and Rogers are not allies by any stretch of the imagination, although they both do wrestle here in Patriot Championship Wrestling. But Piper, of course, has his own code of ethics, and according to the Piper Code of Ethics, thou shalt not interfere in a Filsinger Cup tournament match, especially when a compatriot from Patriot Championship Wrestling is involved. So Piper took it upon himself to interpose himself and prevent Terry Funk from running interference. And as a result of that move, it is going to be Piper versus Funk tonight here in Philadelphia in a Singapore cane match. The rules of the Singapore cane match are very simple. Each man has access to the Singapore cane. And whenever either wrestler rolls a 1 on offense, they go to the Singapore cane chart, and we see what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall to a finish with no disqualification, and this will be a Singapore cane match. Introducing first out of Amarillo, Texas, standing at 6'1", weighing 247 pounds, this is Terry Funk. And his opponent comes to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Standing at 6'2", weighing 232 pounds, this is Roddy Piper. So Piper and Terry Funk set to square off here in a Singapore cane match. Each man has their manager alongside. Percy Pringle III is affiliated with Piper, and of course Terry Funk with the ubiquitous Jimmy Hart. Although in a Singapore cane match, I don't expect either of the managers to get involved, as the last thing they want is to get involved in a beating with a Singapore cane. So I think it's going to be Piper and Funk mano a mano, squaring off here in Philadelphia. Singapore canes in hand. And the grudge match dice will be in effect here as we get things going. And the opening initiative roll is tied. But in a Singapore cane match, I think we'll go to the Shenanigans book, and Terry Funk will roll in the Shenanigans book on the hardcore match chart, brought to you by Play.com. So Funk rolls on the hardcore match and on a roll of 6-1. Is he helped? Both men are helped. So we'll say yes. Wrestler's help sets fire to the opponent's to the opponent's personal item. Opponent clotheslined, running to put out fire. So 2 points. So yeah, Roddy Piper and his bagpipes, and we'll say that Jimmy Hart got hold of the bagpipes and tried to do some damage. And when Piper went to intervene, he was blindsided by Terry Funk, and Terry Funk will start this match on level 2 offense. And it is Funk with a big body slam, but Piper gets right back up to his feet. And on the reversal, it is Piper with a poke to the eyes. And Piper now going to the Singapore cane. Piper went to the eyes, now he's going to the Singapore cane. And on the Singapore cane match chart, the roll of 8, you throw the opponent into the ropes and smash him. With the Singapore cane, you roll on level 3 offense or on this chart. Piper's not done with his Singapore cane. He wants to get his licks in. And now he rolls again and tries to smash the opponent with the Singapore cane, but the opponent ducks and then smashes you with a cane. So Piper and Funk trading shots with a steel cane, or with a Singapore cane here to open the match. And now it is Funk in control. And Funk is going to go right back to the Singapore cane chart. And this time on a roll of 7, it is Funk who throws Piper into the ropes and whacks him again with the Singapore cane. Funk's going to keep on the roll here, and now it is Piper reversing the action and going back with a Singapore cane shot of his own. So Piper and Funk just beating on each other with Singapore canes in the center of the ring. And now it is Piper going to take the match out of the ring and down to the arena floor. But on the arena floor, it is Terry Funk who wins the brawl with a, well, that's the one we used last time, with a Irish whip into the ring barricade. So Piper crashes into the barricade, Funk now in control. And Funk going back for another whack with a Singapore cane. And on a roll of 10, he uses a deadly move on the opponent with the Singapore cane, wrapping the cane across the neck of Roddy Piper, and then running Piper into the ring post with that cane right up against his neck, and that's going to cost Piper a point of fatigue. Funk now in control, and Funk is going to go for a death jump. Piper staggering around, out of commission in the center of the ring, and off the top rope comes Terry Funk, but on a roll of 4, that is Piper catching Terry Funk and throwing him down to the mat before Funk can get off a death jump. So Funk is down, and Piper now is back in control. And Piper now goes to the sleeper. Sleeper hold applied by Roddy Piper. The submission roll here 4 or lower, and on a roll of 9, Funk able to power his way out of the sleeper hold. But Roddy Piper still in control here with a big back suplex, taking Funk back down to the canvas. Piper back in control and going back to the Singapore cane. And on a roll of 9, it is another deadly move with the Singapore cane executed by Roddy Piper. I am not going to mention what Piper just did with the Singapore cane, other than to say it's going to be a very disappointing night for Mrs. Funk after what Roddy Piper just did. Piper maintains control after that whack, and Funk is rolling around down on the canvas, and now a swinging neck breaker executed by Piper, putting Funk down once again. Can Piper get the finisher here? They go out of the ring once again. We will not see any shenanigans here as of yet. And on a roll of 4, it is Terry Funk who's going to win the brawl on the arena floor and slam Roddy Piper into the announcer's table. Nice to see that Terry Funk had the cojones left in him to do that after what Piper did earlier on. But Funk is now in control, and Funk is going to go for a pile driver. He's going to go for the cover. The pin roll here is 3, and on a roll of 11, it is Piper able to kick out. Both men now at 2 points of fatigue. Funk in control with another pile driver and another pin attempt on 4 or lower. Piper again able to kick out. Funk now going to take another whack with the steel cane, and on a roll of 7, he smashes Roddy Piper with that Singapore cane right between the eyes. Piper now busted open. Terry Funk in control, and he is going to take things once again out of the ring. Piper on the arena floor, and on a roll of 9, it is Funk again winning the brawl on the arena floor with a big body slam onto the arena floor. Roddy Piper is in trouble here. He's been busted open. He's been slammed on the arena floor. And now Terry Funk is going to go for another pile driver and another pin attempt on a roll of 5 or lower. And on a roll of 9, Piper again able to kick out as Mark Ferguson joins us here in the chat room. Hello and good afternoon to you, my friend, and happy Sunday. Terry Funk now in control, and he's going to go for another whack with the steel cane, or the Singapore cane. And this time it is another deadly move with the cane as he just hit Roddy Piper on the ear with that Singapore cane. And Piper now has lost his equilibrium. Terry Funk now back in control and back out of the ring again. Piper on the arena floor, and this time it is Piper going to win the brawl on the arena floor with a DDT onto the concrete. So Funk thought he had things well in hand, but on the arena floor, Piper caught him coming in, hit him with a DDT. Funk now is down. Both men are down, but Roddy Piper first to his feet. And a swinging neck breaker executed by Piper. And now Terry Funk is going to move around some furniture at ringside. As action remains on the arena floor, we go to the out of the ring again chart, and it will be ringside mayhem. So give me a D12 and let's see what happens. On the D12 on a roll of 2, it is going to be Terry Funk attempting to set up a table. And on a roll of 11, the table has been set up on the arena floor. What's going to happen here? They're battling it out. And it is Funk who wins the gut check roll and power bombs Roddy Piper through the ringside table. Piper has been power bombed through that table. And he is in rough shape. Terry Funk now going to go back to the Singapore cane once again. But on a roll of 5, it is both wrestlers going after the Singapore cane on the arena floor. So we go to the odd even roll, and it is Piper who wins the roll and gives a whack to Terry Funk with the Singapore cane. And now another big whack. He's going to climb to the top of the turnbuckle and smack Terry Funk with a flying shot with a cane. Piper now going for the pin. The cover is 4 or lower, and on a roll of 6, Terry Funk is able to kick out, but he now has been busted open. Both men now bleeding as Piper takes another whack with the steel cane, the Singapore cane, and smashes the Singapore cane into the guts of Terry Funk yet again. Piper now is going to take things back out of the ring. And on a roll of 7, it is Piper winning the brawl on the arena floor with a backdrop onto the announcer's table. Terry Funk took a wild swing with the Singapore cane. Piper ducked that and backdropped Terry Funk through the announcer's table. Back in the ring now, it is Roddy Piper with the sleeper hold. The sleeper hold has been applied. The submission roll here, 5 or lower. And on a roll of 6, Terry Funk barely able to survive the sleeper hold. Both men are on their last legs. Piper, big back suplex. Funk is down. Piper goes back to the sleeper hold. The submission roll now is 8 or lower, and on a roll of 10, Funk survives again. Piper now back in control. Another back suplex. Funk slowly getting to his feet. Piper picks up the Singapore cane once again and gives another whack across the back to Terry Funk as Funk was trying to get to his feet. Piper now applies the figure 4 leg lock, but he can't quite get it on as Terry Funk is able to crawl away. Piper stays on him with a big knee lift. Terry Funk rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor. The battle on the arena floor is won this time by Terry Funk as Funk slams the head of Roddy Piper into the ring apron. Both these men are bloodied and battered. Funk now in control, goes for the spinning toe hold, the submission roll down 9 or lower, and on a roll of 8, he got him. Wow. What a brutal matchup that was, but your winner is Terry Funk. After these two men beat each other bloody with the Singapore canes, it was Terry Funk able to weaken Piper enough to latch on the spinning toe hold and force Piper to give it up. Terry Funk is your victor, much to the dismay of the fans here in Philadelphia. All right, so that is your grudge match for the evening, and an intense battle that was indeed. As Terry Funk comes away with a victory over Roddy Piper in just a bloodbath of a match. The Singapore cane match, always a spectacle of brutality. All right, catching up on the chat, Mark Ferguson is here. Poor Percy has recovered nicely. Percy is crying. There is no crying in wrestling. He is crying now as his man Roddy Piper forced to tap out after a brutal matchup against Terry Funk. Both men spilled their blood in this match in Philadelphia. And the score was settled after the events of the Filsinger Cup Championship Tournament. And the team of Whatever We Want will again be able to strut around and brag about how they do pretty much whatever they want. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our championship matches for the evening. The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Disqualification rules will be in effect. This match is for the Patriots Tag Team Championship. Introducing first the challengers out of Sandy Fork, Delaware, at a total combined weight of 463 pounds. It is Jay and Mark, the BRISCOE brothers. So Jay and Mark BRISCOE, former Patriot Tag Team champions, who recently lost the titles but are looking to regain the gold here tonight in Philadelphia. And their opponents will be your reigning and defending Patriot Tag Team champions. Introducing first from the Isle of Fiji, standing at 6 foot even and weighing 250 pounds, this is Jimmy SNUKA. And his tag team partner comes from Albuquerque, New Mexico, standing at 6'7", weighing 284 pounds. This is Bruiser BRODY. So BRODY and SNUKA now your reigning Patriot Tag Team champions. Very successful tag team combination back in Japan back in the day. Reunited here in Patriot Championship Wrestling, recently having captured the tag team championships over the very popular team of Jay and Mark BRISCOE. As we get the championship dice here into play for this matchup. Disqualification rules in effect, so these men will need to be on their best behavior. And it will be Jimmy SNUKA to start things off against Jay BRISCOE in this one. And the opening initiative roll is won by Jay BRISCOE. And it is Jay coming out with a series of stomps in the corner and just stomping a mud hole into Jimmy SNUKA, coming right out after him. And now a super kick delivered by Jay BRISCOE. Didn't get all of it. Jimmy SNUKA coming back together in the center of the ring with a kick to the stomach. And now it is BRISCOE who is staggered. SNUKA takes charge and picks him up for a big pile driver. And Jay BRISCOE's head bounces off the mat. You got to pity the poor mat after trauma like that. As BRISCOE gets to his feet, SNUKA gets to his feet, and it is SNUKA with a vicious chop. Jay BRISCOE looking for a tag to Brother Mark and gets the tag. Into the ring comes Mark BRISCOE for the first time. Mark BRISCOE set to take on Jimmy SNUKA. And it is Mark with a killer enziguri across the back of the head. Blindsided Jimmy SNUKA. SNUKA is down. And BRISCOE now in control. And it is BRISCOE going to take things out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Here we go. And on a roll of 5, that is the double disqualification roll. Will we see SNUKA disqualified? No. Will we see Mark Briscoe disqualified? No. We go to the odd-even roll in this situation, with the even roll favoring Jimmy SNUKA. And on a roll of 5, it is Mark Briscoe winning the brawl on the arena floor with an Irish whip into the barricade. SNUKA crashing hard into the barricade. Mark Briscoe now in control. And they're going to keep things out of the ring here and on the arena floor once again. And we're going to see some ringside mayhem. Already in this match, we go to ringside mayhem. Brought to you by Mark Briscoe. And on a roll of 4, it is going to be the tables coming into play once again. Mark Briscoe fixing to set up a table. And on a roll of 3, the table is set up. And the wrestler returns to the ring to roll a gut check. And so there is a table set up now at ringside. We may see that come into play later in the match. But right now, both men had to come into the ring to beat the 10 count. And it is Mark Briscoe who will be in control. And Briscoe goes for the day 1. This is a tag team finisher. It's a double football tackle. It's a +2. The pin roll here 5 or lower. And on a roll of 9, SNUKA able to kick out. That makes Jay Briscoe now the legal man in the ring after that double team football tackle executed by the Briscoes. And Jay is going to take things back out of the ring yet again against Jimmy SNUKA. Remember, the table has been set up. We'll not see it come into play here. And on the arena floor, it is Jay Briscoe winning the brawl on the arena floor with a body slam onto the announcer's table. Dem boys are here, says Mark Ferguson. And Jay Briscoe is in charge against Jimmy SNUKA. And we are going to see now a somersault plancha delivered by Jay Briscoe onto Jimmy SNUKA. Both men getting to their feet. Briscoe still in control. And Briscoe now is going to pull SNUKA up. There's not going to be a whip to the ropes. Instead, there's going to be a high press slam attempted by Briscoe. SNUKA powers his way out of that one. And it is SNUKA who, with a leapfrog and chop, stuns Jay Briscoe. And SNUKA quickly moves over and makes the tag to his partner, Bruiser Brody. So SNUKA carried the load for that team for the better parts of the beginning of this match. And now we see Bruiser Brody in the ring for the first time. Brody now moving in against Jay Briscoe. Brody delivering a series of hammer punches. And following that up with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Jay Briscoe, and on a roll of 6, it is Jay who grabs the arm of Brody and sends Brody into the opposite turnbuckle. And on a roll of 7, it is a big kick by Jay Briscoe that puts the Briscoes back in control. Jay now with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Bruiser Brody, and on a roll of 4, it is Jay who drops his head too soon, and Brody picks him up and slams him down onto the knee with a vicious skull crusher. And Brody now takes over on offense. Ooh, we got a tweener roll there. So on a roll of 1, it is a clothesline coming up by Bruiser Brody. This is a choice G maneuver. He can either go for the death jump of A or the tombstone pile driver on 8 or lower. So he will go for the 8 or lower. And on a roll of 12, Jay Briscoe got out of that move. And Jay comes back with an attempt at a Yakuza kick. And he drills the Yakuza kick on Bruiser Brody. Jay's going to go for the cover. The pin roll here would have to be Snake Eyes. And on a roll of 9, it is Brody who is able to kick out. Jay Briscoe now still in control. Jay with a big somersault plancha. And it is Brody who takes the full impact of that somersault plancha. Rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor. Bruiser Brody goes out to the arena floor where he says hello to Kathy Evans at ringside. And now Brody on the arena floor on a roll of 7. It is Jay Briscoe again winning the brawl, this time ramming the back of Bruiser Brody into the ring apron. Brody took some damage on that move. And Jay now is going to come back into the ring with a Jay Driller. The pin roll here 3 or lower. And on a roll of 7, it is Bruiser kicking out of the Jay Driller. Now Mark comes into the ring, and we're going to see some double teaming by them boys. And but on a roll of 12, that is a botch. You and your partner toss the opponent into the ropes for a double clothesline, but instead, Bruiser Brody ducks under and comes back and clotheslines both of you. It is Bruiser Brody who is now in control. Against Jay Briscoe. Bruiser with a chance to do some damage here. He goes with a big boot to the face and Jay is stunned. Follows that up with an attempt at a drop kick. This is a choice C maneuver. He'll need 7 or lower to hit that, and on a roll of 10, Jay Briscoe able to dodge the drop kick. And it is Jay coming back with an attempt at a Yakuza kick of his own. And on a roll of 9, it is Brody who avoids the Yakuza kick. And it is Brody with a whip to the turnbuckle. So both men had each other well scouted in that situation. And coming off the turnbuckle, it is a big kick by Bruiser Brody that stuns Jay Briscoe. Brody making the tag now to Jimmy Snuka, who comes into the ring. And Snuka with a big headbutt against Jay Briscoe, taking Jay down to the canvas. Jay got staggered by that headbutt. And Snuka now is going to take Jay out of the ring and down to the arena floor, where we will see shenanigans prevail once again here in Philadelphia. Ringside mayhem again will prevail. And this time we are going to outside interference. Neither of these teams have allies, but on a roll of 2, it is going to be Mark getting involved in this match on behalf of his brother Jay on the arena floor. And we will roll on the interference chart to see what happens here. And on a roll of 5, it is Mark who attacks Snuka on the arena floor with a big Yakuza kick of his own. And Snuka now has been stunned. Will we see a... we probably won't see a disqualification for that. And on a roll of 7, the referee's going to let it go. As Snuka took that Yakuza kick from Mark full flush on the side of the head. He is stunned. Jay Briscoe rolls him into the ring and goes for a cover. The pin roll here would be a 4, but on a roll of 6, Snuka is able to kick out. So some good double team tactics by the Briscoe brothers have put Jay back in control. And now it is Jay going to go up for the death jump. Death jump to be attempted here, and on a roll of 10. Death jump A10. That is the agility roll. And Snuka actually has the agility advantage. And it is Snuka knocking Jay Briscoe down off of the turnbuckle and down to the canvas where he hits hard. And Snuka now with a chance to take control. Snuka going to pitch Jay Briscoe out of the ring yet again. And on a roll of 7, it is Snuka who's going to win the brawl on the arena floor with a body slam. Jimmy Snuka picks up Jay Briscoe and body slams him onto the arena floor. Boy, the champions, Brody and Snuka, getting all they can handle as the action stays outside of the ring. And this time it is Jay Briscoe again being beaten up by Snuka on the arena floor, and Snuka drops Jay Briscoe's stomach first across the security railing. Snuka going to roll Jay Briscoe back into the ring. Here comes Bruiser Brody. A double team is going to happen here. And it is an awesome double neck breaker delivered by Brody and Snuka on the fallen Jay Briscoe. Jay in trouble now with Brody in control. And Brody gets him up for a big pile driver and slams him down to the canvas head first. Briscoe is stunned. Brody whipped to the turnbuckle. Jay comes off the turnbuckle, and on a roll of 5, it is Jay lifting a knee to the head of the charging Bruiser Brody to put Jay back in the driver's seat. Jay now coming back with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Brody, and on a roll of 7, it is Jay with a running back elbow that stuns Bruiser Brody. Jay follows that up with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Brody, and a big kick stuns Bruiser Brody. Mark coming into the ring. They're going to try another double team, and this time on a roll of 3. It is a devastating double team move, a slingshot lariat executed by Jay and Mark, and that is going to put another point of fatigue on Bruiser Brody. Mark Briscoe now in the ring and in control Mark is going to take things out of the ring once again. And now we are going to see a brawl into the crowd. Brody and Mark Briscoe are brawling into the crowd. On a roll of 2 to 5, this will be a double countout. And yes, we're going to see a double countout here as Mark Briscoe and Bruiser Brody battle into the crowd. No decision happens here. And that's probably good for Brody and SNUKA, as they were on the receiving end and they were in some trouble. But after the brawl on the arena floor, Mark Briscoe and Bruiser Brody brawling all the way around the arena. And this match will end in a double countout. So there will be a rematch between these two teams, and it's going to have to take place in a steel cage or something to contain this action. But your result for today is a double countout. There is no winner, and that means Brody and SNUKA get to go home with their titles intact, although they will have to meet again another day. So a wild one there in Philadelphia. Of course, everything in Philadelphia tends to be on the wild side, of course. The home of Extreme Championship Wrestling back in the day. Jimmy SNUKA, part of that federation in its early days. And now, fans, after another drink of Diet Dr. Pepper, it's time for your main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. With a 60-minute time limit, disqualification rules will be in effect. This match is for the Patriot Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, the challenger. He's accompanied to the ring by the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. From Paradise Valley, Arizona, standing at 6'4", weighing 275 pounds, this is Superstar Billy Graham. And his opponent is your reigning and defending Patriot Heavyweight Champion. He is accompanied to the ring by James J. Dillon. Out of Seattle, Washington, standing at 6'4", weighing 255 pounds, this is Johnny Valentine. So Johnny Valentine set to defend the Patriot Heavyweight Championship tonight in Philadelphia against Superstar Billy Graham. Of course, these two men last met on September 14th when it was Graham holding the title, and Valentine, who was able to secure the victory over Graham and become the new Patriot Championship. Tonight we see the rematch between these two fine champions. Neither of them received any sort of a rousing warm welcome from the fans here in Philadelphia, but both these men highly respected for their grappling prowess, if not for their connection to the fans. So, it is time to get things underway, and it is Superstar Billy Graham who wins the initiative role. And he comes out with a running shoulder tackle that knocks Johnny Valentine down to the canvas. Graham with the power advantage in this match and about a 20-pound weight advantage. Valentine will have the agility edge. But right now it's Graham who is in control, and Graham just tosses Johnny Valentine across the ring and takes a moment to flex. The fans are booing. Johnny Valentine is unimpressed, but Superstar Graham likes to play little mind games and try and get into the head of his opponent at the beginning of the match. And now we're going to see them come together again in the center of the ring. Superstar Billy Graham is going to try for the scoop slam. This is a choice D maneuver, so he will need a roll of 7 or lower to complete this. And on a roll of 8, it is Valentine able to escape from the scoop slam, and he follows that up with an attempt at a body slam, which is a power move, and that ain't going to work either. So kind of a stalemate in that situation. As they come back together again in the center of the ring, it is Graham who takes control. And Graham with a knee smash to Johnny Valentine into the gut. Valentine going to fire right back and take Superstar down and try and lock him up into a reverse toe hold. But Graham quickly gets over to the ropes and forces the hold to be broken. They come back together, and it is Valentine again unable to complete a power move on Billy Graham. So Valentine is stymied, and Graham once again takes control and smashes another knee into the gut of Johnny Valentine. And that time, Valentine felt it, as Graham comes back and just shoves Valentine into the corner and pummels away with repeated kicks and stopping and kicking on Johnny Valentine in the corner. James J. Dillon imploring the referee to do something about it. And finally, Valentine is able to get to his feet, and Graham's on him with a full Nelson. Graham trying to punish Johnny Valentine with that full Nelson. Got him too close to the turnbuckle, though, as Valentine was quickly able to get hold of that top rope and force the hold to be broken once again. Very cerebral wrestler is Johnny Valentine. Graham more with that brute force. And now he goes right back to the full Nelson. As they come back together again in the center of the ring, whip to the ropes, followed by a full Nelson. Valentine going to absorb a point of fatigue on that, although he won't have to roll for the submission. Graham now in charge, and Graham now going for an over-the-shoulder backbreaker, doing more damage to the upper body of Valentine. Graham going to follow that up with another knee smash to the gut. Valentine listening to James J. Dillon at ringside. As they come together again in the center of the ring, it is Billy Graham attempting an elbow smash, but Valentine able to dodge that, and Valentine instead with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Billy Graham, and on a roll of 8, it is a big kick by Johnny Valentine that stuns Billy Graham. Valentine follows that up with a big chop to the chest. And boy, Graham took some punishment there. That's going to cost him a point of fatigue. Valentine now in control. Valentine is going to take things out of the ring and down to the arena floor once again. Both these men A-rated brawlers. And on a roll of 9, it is Valentine who will win the brawl on the arena floor and slam the head of superstar Billy Graham into the ring post. Billy Graham stunned by that as Valentine regains control. And Valentine now going for the Atomic Skull Crusher. This is a +1 maneuver. The pin roll here is 3 or lower. And on a roll of 8, Graham is able to withstand that. And Valentine comes right back with another Atomic Skull Crusher. The pin roll now 4 or lower. And on a roll of 5, Graham barely able to make it to the ropes before he would have been forced to give it up. And now with 3 fatigue tokens, we're going to see the Grand Wizard of Wrestling get involved. And on a roll of 3, it is the Grand Wizard of Wrestling entering the ring and distracting the opponent. On a roll of 5, he'll be thrown out of the match. He will not be. If there is no disqualification, you recover and roll up the opponent for a quick pin. How about that? Billy Graham rolls up Johnny Valentine. He can pin him on Snake Eyes, but on a roll of 11, Valentine able to kick out. So the Grand Wizard of Wrestling paying dividends there in his first intervention. He'll be allowed one more. James J. Dillon still has 2 opportunities to get involved. But Graham now is in control, and Graham is going to the Superstar Bear Hug. And now it is Valentine in trouble. Submission on 4 or lower. And we may see a submission here. James J. Dillon is going to try for the distraction, and it doesn't work. And Superstar Billy Graham has regained the Patriot Heavyweight Championship here with a submission victory over Johnny Valentine by way of the Bear Hug. So we have a new champion here in Patriot Championship Wrestling as Johnny Valentine has lost the title. Superstar Billy Graham is now your champion once again with the Superstar Bear Hug after his manager was able to turn the tables and J.J. Dillon was not. So give the assist to the Grand Wizard of Wrestling as Graham and the Wizard are celebrating. And this will lead to a best 2 out of 3 falls rematch for the championship. The two men have traded the titles back and forth, and it is now Graham who holds the title, and he will defend against Valentine on our next live Patriots Championship Wrestling event in November. All right, so that brings things to a close for today. Thank you to everybody for checking things out tonight. Always good to get back on the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. Kathy Evans, Mark Ferguson, Neil Loud, Derek Bauman, and Frank Wainscott. Frank, wishing you all the best. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please, as RJL would say, leave a like on your way out through the turnstile. Thank you all for joining us. That's our stream, and I am out of here.